but it could never come close to the rage built up inside of me. Fist in the air in the land of hypocrisy. Movements come and movements go. Leaders speak, movements cease when their heads are flown. Cause all these punks got bullets in their heads. Department of Police, the judges, the feds, networks at work, keeping people calm. You know they went after King when he spoke out on Vietnam. He turned the power to the have-nots. And then came the shot. You up, to shake you up, to break the structure up. Cause blood still flows in the gutter. I'm like taking photos. Man, boy, kicks open the shutter. Set the groove, the stick and move like I was Cassius. Rap the stutter, step the bomber, left upon the fascist. Yeah, the several federal men who pull schemes on the dream and put it to an end. You better beware of retribution with mind war. 2020 visions and murals with metaphors. Networks at work, keeping people calm. You know they murdered X. Tried to blame it on Islam. He turned the power to the have-nots. And then came the shot.
Hello everybody and welcome to my channel. Hi babe. Not the Comics Gate art stream, because it's Saturday. And I really normally wouldn't even be streaming today, but I just kind of wanted to do this. So I hope you guys are doing all right. The song you guys heard is called Wake Up. It's a Rage Against the Machine cover by a channel called Brass Against. Oh, brother. So first off, I guess I want to make sure that my audio levels are good. It looks like it. And that the synthwave music is not fighting too much with me. I just want to say about the Rage Against the Machine, I actually don't like that band. I think they're big giant SJWs, and I remember even when I heard this song, first time I heard this song was before The Matrix. But when I saw The Matrix, it was at the end. It's at the end of the movie. And it's got a really great Led Zeppelin-y guitar riff that I really like. But I just wish the lead singer would shut the fuck up, to be honest. And so I'm a bit conflicted by that song specifically. The other thing is that, you know, it's just they're just so preachy. I'm kind of glad they're not relevant. In fact, I remember a story real quick about Rage where the lead singer of Rage, even like, you know, much later when most of the band had started families and, you know, they were married and all that, they wanted to make new work, and the lead singer was still wanting to do this kind of revolutionary, you know, fight the power, down with capitalism kind of approach, and the other band members were just like, we're not interested in doing that. Like that, where they grew out of that, and this lead singer had not grown out of that. So yeah, so that the song is called Wake Up, and it's a cover of Rage Against the Machine. If you and I thought it was interesting because it was covered by a woman named Sophia Urista. And they had like brass in the band and like guitar. So it has like a kind of a, you know, funky sound to it, and the cover does. So I thought it was pretty good. Why would they have a song in The Matrix if they are blue-pilled? I think the Wachowskis that made The Matrix are pretty blue-pilled, to be honest. I think that they think that it's red-pilled, but the funny thing is that, you know, they say SJWs always project. The stuff that they're talking about in The Matrix, all of the themes, would fit really neatly with men's issues and feminism as the establishment, but oftentimes, I mean, not oftentimes, all the time, feminists see themselves in the shoes of Neo, and Black Lives Matter folks see themselves in the shoes of like Neo and the rebellion, and like the machines are, you know, they represent. Well, I mean, that's the reason why, like in the first movie, without getting like too much into it, because I mean a Matrix analysis would be great, but in the first movie, where did Mr. Anderson work? Where did he work? He worked in a corporation, in a cubicle. What did he do? We don't know exactly. We just knew that he was working in corporate America, right? And it was a job that he hated, and his boss was like almost like an agent himself, you know? Even called him Mr. Anderson, just like the agents do. It was like essentially setting us against capitalism. Like, where did the people in Zion live? In caves, you know, chimping out to like techno music or whatever. That was supposed to be the desirable sort of, you know, existence. Whereas living in the Matrix, which is a place that Cypher wanted to go back to, that was not. It was like an illusion. So, I don't know. It's just, it's interesting. But they used to consider Che Guevara an unofficial member of the band. Of course. So yeah, if you guys find the song cringe, or if you don't like Rage Against the Machine, you know what? I am not against that at all. I hate their politics, and I'm mixed on the song, but I thought it was a good cover nonetheless, and I got to give credit where credit is due, separate the art from the artist and all that. But anyway, we're here to talk about the political compass test. So, I used to think that I never took it. And the political compass test became a big thing when Gamergate was going on. Because of course, what are you eating? Oh, sausage. Because of course, when Gamergate was going on, anti-Gamergate people like games journalists and feminists and even developers and commentators were accusing Gamergate of being right-wing conservatives. Because that's the slur, right? If you're right-wing, then you're bad, and therefore I can just call you right-wing. Kevin Logan's like infamous for saying right-wing conservative as a slur. He's basically telling you that, and that just means you're a bad person. So Gamergaters started taking the political compass test to prove, I put in quotes, that they're not right-wing conservatives, and many of them ended up sort of, libertarian left is like how it ends up on the political compass. And at first I didn't think much of that. I was just like, yeah, sure, I could see it. There's an authoritarian left and a libertarian left, and there's an authoritarian right and a libertarian right, which is what the political compass tells you. But the more I learned about the left and the right, liberals and conservatives, and Democrats and Republicans, and all the other stuff, libertarians, progressives, and so on, ANCAPs, ANCOMs, the more I started to think the political compass isn't really a good tool. And it's not really giving people a good idea of where someone's politics is at. But since I hadn't taken it, I feel like I can't really comment on it on the compass. I have my theories and suspicions. So I think it's only fair that I take it and see how I feel about the results. And then I'm going to take my intersectionality score calculator to find out how oppressed I am, which is I think I should take that afterwards and see how that lines up with the political compass. Hey Mitch, how you doing? Looks like your computer's up and running. All right, so there was another test I took a while back that I thought it was a lot better. It didn't put you in a box. It didn't tell you this is your politics and whatever. So, but have you watched TFM's and Charlemagne's videos on the political trichotomy? I did watch Charlemagne's video on the political trichotomy. Yes, it was pretty interesting. But I still think that there's some conflation of terms going on in that video. But I don't disagree with his final conclusions for the most part. And Turd Flinging Monkey, I'm trying to figure out how to reach him. He's not on Twitter, and I can't find an email, so I'm not really sure. I want to reach out to him, but not really sure what the best way to do so is. Okay. Yeah, the 8 values. You know what I'm talking about. I've taken that one, yeah. I find that's a lot better, but even then, I kind of want to look over it again, because it doesn't really tell you. It doesn't conflate things, but let's take the test. Let's take the test, okay? So if you guys want to take the test with me, if you haven't taken it, I put a link in the low bar to the test. All right. Yeah, I'm suspending judgment too. I agree with that. I heard this new term the other day called, what was it called? Biological Leninism? Bio-Leninism? Yeah. And it sounded interesting, and it might even be a better way of describing cultural Marxism, but it was just cultural Marxism repackaged with another name. Biological Leninism is essentially like, it's pretty much identical, except that cultural Marxism, tries to use culture to further Marxism, class struggle. Biological Leninism tries to use biology, so whether you're gay or straight, what your race is, what your gender is, to push class struggle. It's the same. Maybe biological Leninism is a more precise description, but the point is the same. So yeah, I hear these new things, and I become interested, but I don't immediately jump on board. All right, question number 1. Just a few propositions to start with concerning, no less, how you see the country and the world. If economic globalism is inevitable, it should primarily serve humanity rather than the interests of transnational corporations. Already, I think this is a weird question, and I don't know how this is a left or right question. I guess if it should serve humanity rather than the interests of transnational corporations, I think that that is a left-wing statement, because serving humanity sounds like for the greater good to me, and so I'm going to disagree. And I don't know that economic globalization is inevitable either. I mean, I think on some level, I suppose it is. But I'm going to disagree with that. Because as soon as somebody starts saying this is what things should be like, that makes me concerned. How about leave people alone? I'd always support my country, whether it was right or wrong. No. Countries can be wrong. And what does that mean also? Like, what do you mean? The country itself could be going in the wrong direction if it's run by the wrong people. Like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, for example, who says that I'm just shouting from the cheap seats. Those are the people that I'm worried about taking this in the wrong direction. All right. Next question. Regressive leftism. Yeah, that's a Jay Willie's series. Says I usually call cultural Marxism regressive leftism. Yeah, I know there are people who strongly disagree with the term cultural Marxism, and I guess they kind of spurg out on the specifics. Like, Marx didn't believe that. You're talking about Stalin, but whatever. We know what the point is. It's basically just trying to create derision and division within groups of people to establish a sort of narrative of class struggle. You know,
all those terms are too long anyway. There's probably like an easier way to put it. Like,
instead of saying like Gibbs.
Yeah,
Gibbs is a good way.
Because you know what? All it is like, oh, those people have more than me. Give me that.
Mm-hmm.
That's all it is, and it's like natural, right? Like, since humans were like hunter-gatherers, they thought like that, right?
Yeah.
It's not. For
all we know, Gibbs was the first word that was actually ever said. Okay. No one chooses his or her country of birth, so it's foolish to be proud of it. No, I disagree with that. Because just because nobody gets to choose where they're born doesn't mean that they don't participate in making that country / community better. So I disagree. I don't think, like, if you haven't done anything to make, even on the smallest scale, your country a better place at all, and you've just been nothing but like a burden on society, I don't think you should be proud of that. But I don't find that there's anything wrong with having pride in your country, because that's also pride in your fellow countrymen, in your culture. You know, I don't have a problem with that. So, and also, let me ask you this. Is this going to put me on the right? This answer? Because black people are proud of their heritage, and Japanese people are proud of their country, and Polish people are proud of their country. Are they all right-wing as well? Are black people right-wing? Are Mexicans who come here and they wave their flags, are they right-wing? I don't. Yeah.
Ukrainians that come here.
Yeah, Ukrainians. I live like a couple blocks from a Ukrainian community called Ukrainian Village, and Ukrainians, they like their signs. All the store signs are in their language. They have their food. It's covered. There's churches everywhere. They're constantly going to church. They dress up in their Ukrainian outfits, and Easter is insane, right? They're really proud to be Ukrainian, but they're in this country. So, and they're not a burden. They're part of the economy. They contribute, they're good people. So like, this is one of the, right off the bat, I don't like this question.
I assume some of them are.
Yeah, I assume some are good people. I
get a lot of dirty looks from like the old Ukrainians. Like the Ukrainian
no,
village.
It's just Ukrainians are nosy as fuck. They're like the Polish people and Russians like that. They just want to be in everybody's business. You ever seen that meme where it's like the security cameras and like, yeah. Yeah, security cameras in other countries, and it just has cameras, and it says security cameras in Poland, and it's like old ladies on balconies. Okay. Next question. Our race has many superior qualities compared with other races. Yeah, sure. And again, what does our race mean? I know what you see. This is the thing is, okay, we got a couple issues here. What does race mean in this context? Because I know what people will say. They'll say, well, race basically is a population of people that are, in kind of a similar geographic area, and it has an effect on their genetics, right? So like people in India would be considered a race. Even though I think that Indian people are more like a culture. It's like Jonathan Haidt said, it's got way more to do with culture than anything else. But there are genetic differences between populations. So if a black guy was taking this test and he was like, yes, we do have bigger dicks, would that be a right-wing idea? Or if if a Jewish guy, an Ashkenazi Jew was here and he said, oy vey, we are smarter, and he clicked agree, would that be a right-wing idea? Or is it just a fact? Like this is kind of a stupid question. So I am going to agree because it's obvious. It's obvious that some races have advantages over others. So, okay. And again, the way this is phrased, it makes it personal, like our race. Well, I mean, races in general, there are ups and downs to each one, I mean, Asians tend to have a higher IQ, but they're smaller, and they have lower levels of testosterone. People in sub-Saharan African countries, blacks, they're taller, they have more muscle mass, they have higher levels of T levels, but they have other disadvantages, right? I mean, it's not a controversial thing to state that which is true. So I don't see how this has anything to do with, this is not something that you can make an opinion on, is what I'm saying. This is just like something that's true. Okay. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. Now, easy. Now that sounds like a left-wing idea right there. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. I'm gonna slightly disagree on that. I don't think that that is that's necessarily a true thing, because your enemy of your enemy could also be your enemy. So you shouldn't define your reality based on who your enemies are, in my opinion. Military action that defies international law is sometimes justified. Military action that defies international law is sometimes justified. I'm gonna disagree. Well, international law, I would say I guess it would depend on the law. Like if it's an unjust law, then you might have to push back on it. I mean, like if the EU, is that like are their rules an example of international law? And if they became overly authoritarian, wouldn't military action be necessary to free yourself from it? I'm gonna say yes. If you need to, I'm gonna agree slightly. There is now a worrying fusion of information and entertainment. Fuck yes. Absolutely. Every late show, every Daily Show and Daily Show clone ever, absolutely. It's a worrying fusion. What's the title of the intro song, Jimmy Stiff Fingers? Wake Up by Rage Against the Machine. But it's a cover. All right, let me see what you guys are saying here real quick. My mate is black-born and raised Scottish and proud of Scotland. She must be one of those white nationalists we're hearing about. Yeah, right. That's what I'm saying. That's not a right-wing question. All right, now page 2. I got 6 pages, so let's see if we can get through this. People are ultimately... Oh, now the economy. We're talking attitudes here, not the FTSE index. Why are we talking attitudes, though? I think that when it comes to economy, there should be certain principles, and you just like either have those principles or you have different principles. I wouldn't even say no principles, right? But I guess we'll see. I don't see. I'm already not liking this. I feel like this is basically put up by some lefties because they're talking about feels and attitudes as opposed to, you know, do you think that your property is yours, or do you think your property is everyone's property? And that's it. Like, it should be questions like that. That's not an attitude. But before I judge, let's keep going. People are ultimately divided more by class than by nationality. That's a bad question. That's a bad question. Because a rich person, let's say there was a millionaire that lived in Portland, and there was another millionaire that lived in and was born and raised in Shanghai. Do those guys have a lot in common? Let's say that there was or does the rich guy in Portland have more in common with a poor guy in Portland? I mean, they do live in different worlds in a way, but they speak the same language, they eat the same foods. Culturally, they're very similar. They walk the same streets, one way or another. I'm gonna go with people are ultimately. I'm gonna disagree with this, and I think that they can be divided more by both, and they can be more similar by both, and that's why I disagree, because this is making a definitive statement that I don't think is true. I think it's subjective, so I'm gonna disagree with that. These are really bad questions. They get along better with. There's a problem with this idea that rich people are bad people. How many rich people, by the way, started off as poor people? Or at least like normal people, right? This is why I don't like. All right, next question. Controlling inflation is more important than controlling unemployment. What do you mean by control? What does that mean? How do you control unemployment? You have to make more jobs available. Well, how do you do that? You have to encourage people to build their own things. How do you do that? You get the fuck out of their way. So I'm gonna go with controlling unemployment is more important than controlling inflation. So I'm gonna disagree with that. Billy Connolly spoke about a job he used to drink in, or pub he used to drink in. Rich landowners had more in common with their working class employees than they did with the middle class. Of course. Because corporations cannot be trusted to voluntarily protect the environment, they require regulation. I will disagree with that too. We haven't even like tried to give corporations a chance to try to like, because there's other ways that we can protect the environment, I put in quotes, without having the government step in. So because that, when I hear regulation, I think government. So no. No, they don't. From each according to his ability to each according to his need is fundamentally a good idea. No. Thanks for asking a straight up honest question though. It's a sad reflection on our society that something as basic as drinking water is now a bottled branded consumer product. It's not sad, because you don't have to fucking buy it. I don't buy drinking water. You just filter the water that you get if you're worried about the water not being clean, you know? So no, it's a choice. Why do people think that just because drinking water exists in a bottle form, it means that there's something wrong with the water? Don't you realize that if you care about the environment, you probably shouldn't be buying drinking water anyway, because you're just like getting plastic bottles that just pile up, you know, and form an island of trash. All right, land shouldn't be a commodity to be bought and sold. I disagree with that too. sorry, but land has value because there's only so much of it. That's the way it works. It's the one thing that I'm making more of, as Lex Luthor said. Again, when people say this shouldn't be this way, or this needs to be regulated, or should this be controlled, those words, they kind of make me go, ugh, I don't want any of that. Yeah, buy a Brita pitcher. We have one. We just, you know, and I live in Chicago. It's a hard water town, as they say. Not to mention the lead, yeah. So just let the water run for 5 minutes and then you're good. But it is regrettable that many personal fortunes are made by people who simply manipulate money and contribute nothing to their society. Completely disagree. That's bullshit. There are some people who inherit money, and I think that could be considered the worst offender. And even in that case, why is it, if a person wants to make a better, a more comfortable lifestyle for their children and their children's children, why is it suddenly immoral when they pass their resources on to their kids and their kids' kids? Who, by the way, inevitably, there's a generation that comes along that doesn't, this usually happens, they don't respect, or they don't have a lot of, they don't hold that to a lot of high value, and they end up squandering the money because they didn't work for it. And so it sort of balances out anyway. But like money doesn't exist in limited quantity. It's not like there's a finite amount of value in the world and it's just being moved around. People make stuff that's worth stuff to people. So I'm going to disagree with that. Why is the dog barking? Protectionism, I'm sorry, there's somebody, I think there's somebody in my front porch. Protectionism is sometimes necessary in trade. Protectionism. I'm going to disagree with that. That sounds like authoritarian bullshit to me. What guy? Oh, the utility guy that wants to save me money? Oh, fuck him. The only social responsibility of a company should be to deliver a profit to its shareholders. Social responsibility. I will agree on that because I don't think just... I'm gonna think about this. You know, I'm a little bit neutral on this. I mean, I think that no, I don't think a company is responsible socially for anything else. Jojo, stop it. Is he done? Is he at the door? Jojo, would you chill out, please? All right. I don't. So here's one. The social responsibility, the only social responsibility of a company should be to deliver a profit to its shareholders.
Are you talking to me?
Yeah, I'm just proposing the question. So do companies have a social responsibility is the question, really. I don't think they do. I think they just make shit. Like,
that's hard. Cause like I think that they do, but I don't think it necessarily needs to be regulated by a government.
Yeah, so like, isn't that what ultimately this is trying to conclude? But it's framing the question in such a way that they're making a moral question, but it really isn't about that, right? Like, this is why I don't like this, because
like, okay, so this is how I think about this stuff, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So say you have this company, and if its only responsibility is to deliver profit to its shareholders, it doesn't matter if it pollutes the environment or something like that, right? So let's say it pollutes the environment and a nearby town gets poisoned, or like they suffer negative environmental consequences. Do you think like that's never gonna get out? Like there's so many different levels that you know, like control what companies can do, not just government regulations. Like it could be like the journalists going in and doing like an undercover showing
like
what
an
this
expose.
company is doing. People get outraged, they stop buying the products. Like there's other ways that
right.
companies are put in.
I agree. I agree. And as I think that this question, my problem with this question is,
I do think there should be some regulations, like environmental regulations. So I would say I agree with that.
I'm gonna slightly disagree because I don't like that it's coming from this place that I believe. Maybe I'm being paranoid because there isn't anything that says this explicitly, but what I get from this is government should step in when I read that question. And I think that you can hold companies accountable for things that they do that are irresponsible without the state, right? And normal people are going to get together. Companies should be responsible to make their own money. The social responsibility is included in the cost anyway, even if the government does not interfere.
It should be included in the cost, but I don't think it always is. And I think like it's better to be more cautious, I guess.
Yeah.
Because it might be a future cost, like way in the future, like a decade or two.
Yeah, the question is definitely intended to see if you're capitalist or communist. Yeah, I agree with that. So I'm going to disagree with this, but not strongly. So I think that we have stuff in place, but they're not explicitly saying the government should do something. But I do think that there is, something to that. The rich are too highly taxed. Yeah, strongly agree. I think everyone is too highly taxed. Everybody's too highly taxed, and the money doesn't even go where it needs to go. So I'm gonna that's an easy one for me.
Yeah.
And I'm not rich. I'm poor as fuck. But I strongly agree with that. So okay.
I'm just gonna, like, hang around now.
That's okay. You can hang around. You can hang around. Those with the ability to pay should have access to higher standards of medical care. Yeah, why not? I mean, like, that's another one. This is they make it sound like there's something wrong with that, but
you're gonna be like crazy right wing.
I probably am, yeah. But the thing is, though, like, it's only the people that have the ability to pay that pay for these higher standards of medical care. Inevitably, the advances in technology that come out of that benefit the people who are poor because, somebody invested in that, right? So, I mean, it affects us all eventually anyway. And who cares? If a rich person wants a solid gold toilet, what am I going to tell them? They can't do that? Okay.
Wait, I just want to read a comment. French Honey Badger says, pollution is not included in the cost of the company because the state protects
companies against being sued for polluting their property.
I don't know if I fully understand that.
What he's saying is that pollution is not included in the cost of the company, like whatever their spending is, because the government protects them from being sued. So if somebody wanted to sue them for polluting, the government steps in and protects the companies, so the companies don't have to take that into account. So the problem is the government is actually making it worse. Is what he's saying.
Yeah, no, I think
because it protects them. And
I went
go ahead.
I think like a lot of the things that governments make companies do, like environmental impact statements, I think they're bullshit.
Yeah.
Probably like pretty corrupt shit.
Oh yeah, probably. Okay, government should penalize businesses that mislead the public. No. The public will already penalize them. All you need is honest people that will be whistleblowers, journalists, and people in the company to come forward. The government doesn't have to do that at all. So I disagree with that. A genuine free market requires restrictions on the ability of predator multinationals to create monopolies. No, I disagree with that too. I think monopolies only happen, well, how do I put this? I mean, I don't think there are enough monopolies for it to matter, but generally I think that if a company is providing a product that is so good that no one can compete, why couldn't they be a monopoly? I mean, it wouldn't last long anyway. Like usually when there is one, it's like, it's long enough that people think that it's, it's too long, but if you look at the larger scope, it's not that long at all. Like, I don't think Google, for example, which a lot of people call it a monopoly, I don't think that it's necessarily like gonna last that long if they keep it up. So monopolies are a creature of the state. Yeah, so he disagrees. Are you taking this test or am I taking this test? The freer the market, the freer the people. Yeah, that's an easy one. Strongly agree. I don't know what else to say about that. All right, next page. Page 3. Now look at some of your personal social values. So before I even start this is not a left-right argument. These are going to be either liberal or conservative arguments, which are different. And this is one of the main reasons why I don't like the political compass test right here.
Oh,
because
so were the last set like more libertarian versus authoritarian then?
The last set was just, it said it was all about the economy.
Oh, okay.
So in a lot of ways, yeah, I guess it's basically like, you know, the economy
or maybe
is ultimately about
mixed bag.
how much government and how little government you want, because it's a free market versus controlled market. That's what it is. It's free market versus controlled market. Okay. Thanks, Rico Champagne, for donating to HBR. He said thanks for providing those links earlier this week. All right. So, social issues are bullshit. I'll tell you why. Because this is something I've said before. Blacks and Latinos in America vote overwhelmingly for the left. Overwhelmingly for the left. But they are socially very, very conservative. They are religious. They don't like... they tend to be, I wouldn't say anti-gay, but they're not like big progressive, you know, let's celebrate homosexuality kind of people. They tend to be very socially conservative. They believe in traditionalism and traditional values, but they vote for the left. So being conservative does not at all mean that you vote for the right, in the same way that being liberal does not at all mean that you're going to vote for the left. Okay. I think the left has co-opted liberalism and confused people with it, and I already know that this is going to be fucking weird, because remember, the political compass isn't about liberal conservative; it's about left right, and I think left right is not about social stuff, in my opinion. I think it's about economic stuff. I think it's about centralized state control versus free markets. I think that's what left-right is about, in my opinion. All right. Abortion, when the woman's life is not threatened, should always be illegal. See, I don't like this right off the bat. Abortion should be illegal. Who says that? I've heard a lot of people who are pro-life people, and they've never said that abortion should be illegal. I mean, maybe I haven't been I haven't seen enough of it, but this is kind of a straw man that I've never heard before based on what I see. So I'm like, I don't know how to feel about this question. I don't like this question. I'm gonna go with shit. I don't know. Abortion when the woman's... What about the child? I mean, like, in light of the recent shit with Virginia, I'm not really sure. Social conservative liberal is the vertical axis. Jesus Christ. Where am I missing that? I only ever see like the four fields being authoritarian, libertarian, left, right. I don't see like social, conservative, liberal. I think that's a different animal. I think you can have people that are a mixed bag too. And I wonder if the purpose of that isn't to conflate things. Like Sargon says that he's libertarian left. And I think that Louis Levi has also said he's libertarian left. I don't know that there's a difference. Not a difference, I'm sorry. I don't know that there can be such a thing as libertarian left. I don't know that there can even be such a thing as that. Because the left is authoritarian by necessity. It has to be. It has to be, because they're about centralizing and essentially making more and more things. The further you go to the left, the more they want to make things publicly funded, and they want to control markets. To control markets and make things more publicly funded necessitates authoritarianism, period. There's no other way. So I don't see how you can be left of center unless you are socially liberal, and they're basically just conflating that with being on the left. Now, I know that Sargon is okay with some social programs, publicly funded things, and that might be why, but then you're not libertarian. Those things don't add up. So libertarian left is a contradiction to me. Okay. So abortion, I gotta pick something, right? Should always be illegal. I will disagree on that. I think that we need to have, I think, some level of abortion. And I don't know that I want to make it illegal. So I'm going to disagree with that. All authority should be questioned. Abso-fucking-lutely. Why not? Why not? That's not the same as violence, but questioning things, of course. An eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. No? Well, I mean, like, okay, wait a minute. What does that mean, though? See, like, today, when a left, you guys remember what happened on the, I think it was Berkeley campus, where the guy had a table and some other guy punched him in the face, okay? And then the other guy retaliated with what? A lawyer, right? Is that an eye for an eye? Because an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth sounds like some chimping out shit to me. And that's one, but the other thing is that why does the left retaliate with violence when the right makes statements? And I'm just using that as an example. There's probably examples of the opposite, but I haven't really seen it, especially lately. Well, I think the reason is because SJWs, they see words as violence, so they're responding to what they believe is violence because they define it as violence in their postmodern heads when somebody says something or has an opinion, holds an opinion that they don't like. So if you say the N-word and somebody punches you, leftists will think it's completely justified that you got that punch, even though what you said didn't do any physical harm, and they're the ones escalating. But they wouldn't see it that way. They would say that you deserved it and you started it, right? And even though what you're saying wasn't a threat, you just said the N-word. You might not have even said it to the person who hit you. You might have just said it, right? So an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth, I'm going to disagree with that because I don't think that... And maybe they're also using like a verse from the Bible to see if this is a conservative perspective. Like, I can't tell what view this is aping, you know? Another reason why the left is violent, I think, is because they believe, they've convinced themselves in their head that they're doing a little bit of violence now in order to prevent a lot more violence later. And because they think that a person who has bad ideas, that will lead to some kind of violent Holocaust or genocide or something. And so what they're doing is a small price to pay to prevent future violence, which is ironic, but I honestly think they believe that. So libertarian is just the opposite of authoritarian. Yeah, sure. Okay. Yeah, eye for an eye is not a good idea. Just look at Africa. Yeah, I disagree with that, right? Taxpayers should not be expected to prop up any theaters or museums that cannot survive on a commercial basis. Should not be expected to prop up theaters or museums that cannot survive. Yeah, I agree with that. Why should they? Why would you publicly fund a museum nobody wants to go to? I mean, yeah, I agree with that. Why is that a hard question? Schools should not make classroom attendance compulsory. Well, let me think. Schools should not make classroom attendance compulsory. I mean, I'll agree with that. I think that schools should be engaging enough that kids want to go. you know? So, and besides, I mean, I'm going to assume that they're talking about public education here. I'm going to assume that. And public education has a lot of problems. So maybe it's not the kids' fault. And I feel like this conversation, school should not make classroom attendance compulsory. That's like starting a story in the middle. There's a lot of other issues that lead up to this discussion about classroom attendance, you know? So maybe there's a lot of other shit that needs to be worked on before we start thinking, you know, about whether or not classroom attendance should be compulsory. All people have their rights, but it is better for all of us that different sorts of people should keep to their own kind. Who says that? Except for Black Lives Matter. Different sorts. It's better for all of us. No, it's better for all of us that we leave people alone to do whatever the fuck they want. They're gonna segregate anyways. Most people tend to do that. Good parents sometimes have to spank their children. I disagree. I don't think it's necessary. It's natural for children to keep some secrets from their parents. What are these questions? Yeah, of course, I think that they do. But. I think that children who do that only do that because they fear spankings. So again, this is kind of an incomplete question. It's not making a full statement. If you put fear in your child because you spank them or yell at them or otherwise make them afraid of you, especially when you misbehave as a child, then or you make them fear you rather, then of course they're going to keep secrets from you because they don't want to be punished. They're going to avoid punishment. You're basically going to teach them how to get out of trouble, but not necessarily not to make trouble in the first place. So, I mean, yeah, I think it's natural, but I think it's a consequence of a lot of single mothers spanking the shit out of their kids, which they shouldn't be doing. So, possessing marijuana for personal use should not be a criminal offense. I don't know what you're talking about, but I'm going to agree with it. The prime function of schooling of personal use should not be. Yeah, of course not. The prime function, any victimless crime should, in my opinion, not really be a crime. So, the prime function of schooling should be to equip the future generation to find jobs. Yes, I think so. Otherwise, I don't see the point. I'm going to agree with that. People with serious inheritable disabilities should not be allowed to reproduce. What? Disagree. That sounds a little bit like, yeah, that's a little bit fucked. The most important thing for children to learn is to accept discipline. Accept discipline? I think children get a lot of value out of discipline. I wouldn't say it's the most important thing, but I'll agree with it to a degree. I think it's worth something. There are no savage and civilized peoples. There are only different cultures. I'm going to disagree with that. There definitely are savage cultures, or cultures more savage. Those who are able to work and refuse the opportunity should not expect society's support. I don't see another question I don't like. Okay, so if someone is able to work but they refuse to work, no, you're right. They shouldn't expect it. They shouldn't expect it. So I'm going to agree with that. I'm not going to strongly agree because I think that, again, we're getting to this situation about, okay, so if someone doesn't work, what I guess when I see the phrase society support, I'm thinking, like, are you saying the government should house and feed these people, or are you saying that people, you know, are you talking about people coming together and giving to a charity and supporting this person voluntarily? Because as long as people are doing it voluntarily, I don't care if they like want to essentially enable lazy behavior because that's their choice. But if the state does it, then I have a problem. So I'm gonna say I agree because of the phrasing "should not expect." Because somebody who expects it, in fact, I'll strongly agree. Someone who's expecting support and they don't want to work for it, fuck those people in general, specifically. All right. When you are troubled, it's better not to think about it, but to keep busy with more cheerful things. That's a weird one. Okay. It is when you are troubled, it's better not to think about it, but to keep busy with cheerful things. I'm gonna disagree because sometimes you need to, again, these are absolute statements, right? So it's easy to disagree with them. Sometimes it's better to fucking figure your shit out and work towards it. And I think when you keep busy with cheerful things, you're just trying to distract yourself from what you need to be doing. So I disagree with that. First generation immigrants can never be fully integrated within their new country. First generation immigrants can never be fully integrated. Can never be. It's an absolute statement. That's ridiculous. Of course they can. Because what if where they're emigrating from culturally is very similar to where they're going? You know? If somebody emigrates from fucking France to Brussels, I don't know, or from like, Sweden to Norway or something, is it really that much of a difference? If someone emigrates from Moldova to Poland, is it really that much of a difference? I don't think integration is going to be that difficult. It depends on how different the culture is. So I'm going to disagree with that. In fact, I'm going to strongly disagree with that. Can never be fully integrated. No, I'll just disagree. Because I think that there might be something else here too. They might be trying to like pull this whole, where you actually have people from very different countries coming to America. I think that's where they're coming from with this question, or this particular thing. And I agree with that in a way, because if you're coming here and you just want to make the country you're going to into the country you left, then yeah, you're not going to integrate very well. But if you have like a really good way of getting people in that will essentially make sure the people who are coming in are going to be productive and they're going to make the country better, then yeah, sure. So, all right. What's good for the most successful corporations is always ultimately good for all of us. I don't like these questions, man. They're really sinister sounding. What's good for the most successful corporations? What about what's good for everybody? Like what's good for corporations in general? You know, whether you support local businesses, independently owned businesses, or multinational corporations, you're creating value, you're adding to, okay, provided the corporations are creating value that you're interested in spending your money on. Of course it's good for all of us. Like the motherfuckers that put this together are using the internet, right? They're using computers, PCs, built by big corporations. So yes, sure. No broadcasting institution, however independent its content, should receive public funding. We don't need it. Why? NPR is basically just like propaganda anyway. And isn't that a publicly funded radio station? Okay. 2 more pages. And how you see the wider society. Our civil liberties are being excessively curbed in the name of counter-terrorism. Civil liberties curbed in the name of counter-terrorism. Counter-terrorism? I'm not seeing that. I don't know. Are they? Well, okay, yeah, Patriot Act stuff. Sure, I'll agree with that. A significant advantage, and besides, all the government has to do is basically like change the definition of counterterrorism, and they'll curb your civil liberties anyway, right? So I'll agree with that. A significant advantage of a one-party state is that it avoids all the arguments that delay progress in a democratic political system. Well, that's terrifying. Let's disagree with that strongly, especially the fact that they use the word Democrat. Yeah, no thanks. And besides, I don't know if there was just one party, it would kind of depend on how united a front that one party is. But I mean, yeah, we'll leave it at that. Although the electronic age makes official surveillance easier, only wrongdoers need to be worried. Although the electronic age makes official surveillance easier, only wrongdoers need to be worried. No, I disagree with that strongly. The death penalty should be an option for the most serious crimes. You know, this is one I've always been on the fence on the death penalty because obviously if we have the death penalty, you can put innocent people to death, and that's really, really bad. And it could probably be used to like put people to death that, you know, if the government became corrupt enough, it would be used as a means to silence voices. But on the other hand, we spend a lot of money on prisoners to house them and feed them and, you know, give them education and all this other stuff. So I will disagree because I think that prison reform in general is necessary for a number of other reasons. I think that once someone goes to prison, it's like their life is over, even if they don't get the death penalty. So I'm going to disagree with that, I think. Keep in mind the test was made and hasn't been updated since 2008. Yeah, I figured that must be why, because there's a lot of like old Patriot Act shit in here, and I think in principle though it's still a good thing to answer. They just need to update it with like more of this Orwellian shit that's going on coming from the left too. So all right. In a civilized society, one must always have people above to be obeyed and people below to be commanded. Again, I don't like this question. Like, hierarchies are naturally occurring. But when you say one must, you know, I don't like the way they're phrasing these questions, but okay, I'm going to treat this like hierarchies exist. That's basically what this is, right? And like, again, commanded, what the fuck commanded? That doesn't, I don't like that. Obeyed and commanded. This makes it sound really bad. So we're gonna agree, but not harsh. I mean, like, it's hierarchies you're talking about. They exist. It's a thing. Abstract art that doesn't represent anything shouldn't be considered art at all. I'm gonna agree with that. Abstract art that doesn't represent anything shouldn't be considered art. But the thing is that even the ugliest art or the flattest, like most plainest shit, if you ask the creator, they will tell you it represents something. So even a Rothko or a Pollock represents something. So I guess if it doesn't represent anything, I don't like this question either, but I'm gonna disagree because I don't like abstract art. So there's one that I'm not gonna give too much thought to because I don't like the question again. There's a lot of really bad questions. This is like the majority of these questions are bad. In criminal justice, punishment should be more important than rehabilitation. No. I think rehab is more important. It's a waste of time because we want more people that contribute to society and fewer people who drain from it, right? And criminals in prison drain from it. I mean, they make stuff in there too, but I think that it ends up costing more. And also when they get out, it's harder for them to find work. So, you know, I think that they're more likely to either go back to prison, you know, commit crime and contribute to the poverty. So I think rehabilitation is better. In criminal justice, I already read that. It's a waste of time to try and rehabilitate some criminals. Yeah, sure, some. Some are just too far gone, too damaged, too broken. And we have to accept that. Because again, if you don't accept that, then you're going into social constructivist territory. And the fact is, you can't make somebody become something that they just aren't at their core. But I think that you should try. So hence, I disagree with this and I agree with this. The business person and the manufacturer are more important than the writer and the artist. More important, what does that mean? I mean, like, we already think the artist is more important now. How many famous Hollywood celebrities do you know by name? And how many famous manufacturer persons do you know by name? It's not even close, right? So that's already the case now, that the writer and artist is more important, or at least more recognizable. So I will disagree softly on that. Mothers may have careers, but their first duty is to be homemakers. I fucking agree. Fuck them. Take their rights away, chain them to the stove, and make them raise the babies. And if they can't raise babies, then we euthanize them. Or we'll just call it a late stage abortion of the mother. That's really late stage. That's like, or it's really, really early stage if you think about it. Like, they haven't had a baby yet, but we're gonna get rid of them now. It's like, yeah, why not? No, I disagree with that. This is another really, how does this fit into left and right? It doesn't. This is a conservative versus liberal argument. And even then, I doubt there are very many conservatives that think that a mother's first duty is to be homemakers. I think that conservatives of today are more liberal than conservatives of 50 years ago. And I think that liberals of 50 years ago are more conservative. They're probably more conservative than conservatives of today. I think that we're always moving towards liberalism, you know, slowly. It's like they say, what does the saying go? Liberalism is the gas pedal, and conservatism is the brakes. So it just basically like slows it down. So, it's conservatism is liberalism doing the speed limit. That's what some people say. I think that's a relatively fair way of putting it. I don't think there are that many people that would go so far as to say that their first duty is to be homemakers. First duty? No, but like, you know what? Most women, they end up doing that anyways, and they make it the priority, so. Multinational companies are unethically exploiting the plant genetic resources of developing countries. No, disagree. Provided that if there is no like state state intervention going on, I don't agree with that. Making peace with the establishment is an important aspect of maturity. Making peace with the establishment. What do you mean by the establishment? Do you mean the left establishment? Do you mean like the blue pill world? Because I'm gonna disagree with that. You have to be able to question this shit. So yeah, no. All right, page 5. You got through that, okay? You'll find these propositions on religion. If you got through that, you'll find these on religion a breeze. Again, religion. All right, so let's talk about this for a second before I even look at these questions. Blacks and Hispanics are highly religious, but they vote for the left. So these religious questions should not be left-right questions. These should be liberal conservative questions. If that, because religious people are not necessarily conservative, right? And atheists are not necessarily liberal. So I don't like that this even is a chapter. And then you have to let's look at another way. What do you mean by religion? Are you just talking about Abrahamic religions? Do you include philosophies like Buddhism? Do you include Hinduism, Sikhism? Do you include feminism? Do you include Scientology? Do you include, you know, Marxism? Those are religions. Communism is basically a religion, right? So like, atheism is becoming a religion. Science worship is a thing. You know, like where they fetishize science by just basically going, science is awesome, and they don't even know why. I mean, that's religious thinking, right? What if you're just like into healing rocks and meditation and like fucking chakras and you know, what are the shit that people like into in California? Like, you know, I don't know, like, you know what I mean? Like just this woo shit, Wiccans and witches. Anyway, we'll see. But I astrology, you know, we'll see. Okay, astrology accurately explains many things. No, it doesn't. These are so dumb. Like, what is that going to prove? Are people who believe in astrology going to end up on the left? Because I can tell you now that I know religious people that are also into astrology. So I don't get this. Don't forget the Pastafarians. Yeah, right. Or what about the Unitarians? The unilateral Unitarians? I don't know. You cannot be moral without being religious. Cannot be moral without being religious. What does that mean? What does that mean? I'm gonna disagree. Charity, I mean, I don't like that I'm pressing this button because this question is incomplete too. You know, like someone can act in the world as though God exists, as Jordan Peterson says, and not necessarily be religious in that they don't go to church and they don't pray and that kind of thing. So this doesn't, I don't like this question, but I'm gonna go ahead and disagree with it anyway. Don't forget Dinduism. Dinduism. Jay Willie's series says to define religion is like telling the difference between a puddle and a lake. Yeah. Okay. Charity is better than Social Security as a means of helping the genuinely disadvantaged. Absolutely. Of course. Social Security, it's just a muck. I mean, like, it certainly might appear to be better and stable, but you're not going to get as much. People who donate tend to give more. For example, this is the reason, one of the other reasons why I don't like the way that this discussion is being framed. Republicans give a lot more to charity, a lot more than Democrats do. And it's overwhelmingly higher. But they're often accused of being like these corporatist shills that are greedy and evil and stuff. But they don't they don't like the welfare state most of the time, right? So in order for you to push back on the welfare state, especially if you lived in a state where maybe there isn't as much of it, then charity is the only way, and it seems to be the better way. So yes, charity is better than Social Security. More of the money goes to where it needs to go. It doesn't get tied up in red tape. It's not taking from people that don't want to give. There's a number of reasons why it's better. Some people are naturally unlucky. Again, wooey thinking, no. It's important that my child's school instills religious values. No, but I'm sorry, guys, but it already does instill religious values. Go back to my previous comment about feminism being a religion. If you don't have Christian religion in your school, and I think this is where they're coming from, is the Christian religion specifically, that doesn't mean you don't have religion in your school. It means you probably have feminism in your school. And odds are, even if you're in a private school, even if you're in, if you're getting like homeschooling or something, your odds are your child's getting a feminist education anyway. So it doesn't really matter. All right. Page 6. Finally, a look at sex. What does that have to do with politics? No, how do you, Brian? How do you know this might be a feminist political compass? I don't know, because sex is like it's like a sixth of the whole fucking thing, even though that's got nothing to do with anything. Sex outside of marriage is usually immoral. No.
What?
Sex outside of marriage is usually immoral.
No?
I don't think it's immoral, no. And I don't like the word usually anyways.
Well,
what does that mean? Isn't marriage making a religious argument too? Like, because that's like how a lot of times people see it. So they see marriage as a religious construct.
If I went and I
no.
somebody else,
No. Sex outside marriage, meaning sex before you're married.
Wait, is that what that means?
Yeah. That's what I think it means. I don't mean adultery.
Oh, right.
Yeah. Sex outside of marriage.
I read that completely wrong.
Yeah,
What
really?
the fuck?
Do you really think? I'll be right back. I'm just gonna go fuck my trick really quick. No, I mean before marriage. All right. Same-sex couples in a stable a same-sex couple in a stable, loving relationship should not be excluded from the possibility of child adoption. Sure. I don't have a problem with that. Pornography depicting consenting adults should be legal for the adult population. Yeah, of course, it already is. Who cares? I don't care. What goes on in a private bedroom between consenting adults is no business of the state. Of course. These are easy. These are the easiest ones so far. No one can feel naturally homosexual. I disagree with that. Of course they can. These days, openness about sex has gone too far. I'm gonna agree with this one. I'm gonna strongly agree. The fact is, I don't want to. Just because you're okay with something doesn't mean that we all need to hear about it. You know, so I'm gonna go with that. Aside from the fact that like all the weird degenerate shit that's coming out, it's not even that I have a problem with it. It exists as long as it's not hurting anyone. But they're going into crazy land now. Like they're, what is it like?
Teaching children.
Yes. Children in drag
LGBT.
and like teaching them about LGBT stuff and like what was that one video by The Cut that was out where they actually had kids playing with sex toys? Like they were showing them sex toys.
Oh yeah, that was creepy.
Like that. Yeah, come on. We've gone way too far. So.
Well, I think because you can argue that it is becoming harmful to children, because I think it gets confusing for them, right?
Yeah,
Especially when they're not even at sexual maturity yet. They don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Yeah. I mean, it probably was already going too far in 2008 when they wrote this study, but I wasn't probably paying attention to this stuff. But yeah, I mean, no. All right, so now let's see where I stand. We're at the end here. The introduction, we explain the inadequacies of the traditional left-right line. If we recognize that this is essentially an economic line, it's fine as far as it goes. We can show, for example, Stalin, Mao, Zedong, and Pol Pot with their commitment to a totally controlled economy on the hard left. Socialists like Mahatma Gandhi and Robert Mugabe would occupy a less extreme left position. Margaret Thatcher would be well over to the right, but further right still would be someone like that ultimate free marketeer, General Pinochet, as well as like Ayn Rand, right? Stefan. Yeah, start the helicopters. That deals with economics, but the social dimension is also important in politics. That's the one that the mere left-right scale doesn't adequately address. Okay, so we've added one ranging in positions from extreme authoritarian to extreme libertarian. No, wait. No. The social dimension, I don't know that that's authoritarian libertarian though. Is it? So like if you're a Christian and you don't think that let's say that you're a homophobic Christian, okay? And you don't believe that that there was an Adam and Steve, only Adam and Eve. But at the same time, you didn't want to like put gays in jail. You just we're like, well, they're gonna go to hell, right?
Well, that's what I didn't like about a lot of those questions. It doesn't really like say, do you want the government to do something about it, or you just don't like it as an individual?
Yeah, because most of the time, from what I see, what, is there something in my hair?
Yeah, there's stuff in your hair.
Oh. It's probably just dust or something.
No, it's still there.
Please, just leave it. I'll look into it later. What was I saying? Maybe stop it.
I don't know, it's just fish food in your hair.
It's not fish food. Stop it.
Sorry.
What was I saying? You made me forget.
But we were talking about the questions and how they don't really like.
Oh, right. Yeah. So like, if a Bible thumper felt that a gay man was going to go to hell because he was in a relationship with another gay man, he called him a sodomite, right? But he didn't necessarily call for him to be imprisoned or jailed or punished in some way by the state for being gay. That's not authoritarian. Yeah, he just thought God is going to take care of it. I don't have to take care of it, right? I don't think that's authoritarian, though. You know? So like, I don't. That's the thing. Like, so if they're saying that the social dimension is authoritarian, libertarian, that doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense. No, liberal and conservative. Maybe they think conservatives are authoritarian. I think conservatives can be authoritarian, but I don't know about that. Like, I'm not really sure that works. Okay, well, let's see what they say. All right, so state. Okay, so this deals with, so we've added one ranging in position from extreme authoritarian to extreme libertarian. Voluntary regional collectivism. Libertarian left. State imposed collectivism. State imposed collectivism. Social scale, economic scale. Okay. Both an economic dimension and a social dimension are important factors for a proper political analysis. By adding the social dimension, you can show that Stalin was an authoritarian leftist, the state is more important than the individual, and that Gandhi, believing in the supreme value of each individual, is a liberal leftist. Did Gandhi want... So, was Gandhi a socialist? That's a question I would ask. Or did he believe that people would take care of each other with charity instead? Because people who are sharing, that's not socialism. Like, you know, they say, like, I've heard atheists say that Jesus Christ was a communist because he believed in sharing. But he did, but he believed in voluntary sharing. He didn't want, like, the government to make people do it, which is different. So, while the former involves state-imposed arbitrary collectivism in the extreme top left, on the extreme bottom left is voluntary collectivism at regional level with no state involved. Hundreds of such anarchist communities existed in Spain during the Civil War period. And then, ironically, this sentence doesn't have a period at the end, even though it ends with a period. You can also put Pinochet, who was prepared to sanction mass killing for the sake of the free market, on the far right, as well as in a hardcore authoritarian position. So, yeah, you know what? That's interesting. Pinochet, was he... is that an example of an authoritarian right-wing guy? I mean, it does sound like it. On the non-socialist side, you can distinguish someone like Milton Friedman, who is anti-state for fiscal rather than social reasons, from Hitler, who wanted to make the state stronger even if he wiped out half of humanity in the process. Hitler was on the left, guys. He's a leftist because he wanted he wanted socialism, national socialism, Nazism. Hello? The chart also makes clear that despite popular perceptions, the opposite of fascism is not communism, but arcanism, i.e. liberal socialism, and that the opposite of communism is neoliberalism, extreme deregulated economy. Okay, so here's where they put it. Hitler is authoritarian right. I don't think he is. I think that he's over here somewhere. Stalin is I would say that Hitler's probably like right around here, actually. Definitely authoritarian, but a little bit on the left too, because he wanted social programs. Richard Spencer is in here, as well as what's his name? Louis Farrakhan. They're probably over here somewhere, because they wanted social programs, and that I think is necessarily authoritarian, unless you like create some weird little commune where there's nobody in charge and everyone shares. But it has that only works on a really small scale, and you know it won't really work, because if the rest of the world is still using the free market, you're gonna suffer. So look at North Korea. I don't know about this. I'm not sure, because I don't know what Gandhi. Oh, I'm sorry, you're right, you can't see my pointer. What I'm saying is that I think Hitler, Richard Spencer, and Louis Farrakhan would be in the authoritarian left, just maybe closer towards the center between left and right. I don't think that libertarian leftism, it just doesn't, it seems like to me at this point, I'm open to being wrong, but it seems to me that it's a bit of an oxymoron. And I think authoritarian right is also kind of an oxymoron, unless Pinochet is an example of that. But that, I don't understand. I guess I'm not sure that they're representing Pinochet correctly. So that's kind of where I'm sitting. I'm kind of curious about this. Let's see. All right, let's move on. The usual understanding of anarchism as a left-wing ideology does not take into account the neoliberal anarchism championed by the likes of Ayn Rand, Milton Friedman, America's Libertarian Party, which couples social Darwinian right-wing economics with liberal positions on most social issues. Right, so libertarians are not in some weird, this is what I'm getting at. Libertarians are on the right. They're economically right-wing. And I think that socially they're liberal, but they're conflating those things. Yes, I think libertarians are liberal, it's in the name, motherfucker. Like, it's in the name. You know, they want people to be left alone to their own devices. They don't think the government needs to be involved with any of the social issues. That's why the social shit is separate. To me, anyway. Okay. Often their libertarian impulses stop short of opposition to strong law and order positions, and are strong law and order positions, and are more economic in substance, i.e. no taxes, so they are not as extremely libertarian as they are extremely right-wing. On the other hand, the classical libertarian collectivism of anarcho-syndicalism, libertarian socialism, belongs in the bottom left-hand corner. What the hell is anarcho-syndicalism? Come back to that. Oh, anarcho-communism? Oh, yeah, right. Yeah, I think that anarcho-communism is like some impossible shit. That's like including, you know, like some kind of magic society of wizards, and then calling that a political party that can maybe exist one day. I don't know. And comms, I don't know that that's even possible. So in our homepage, we demolished the myth that authoritarianism is necessarily right-wing, with the examples of Robert Mugabe, Pol Pot, and Stalin. Similarly, Hitler, on an economic scale, was not an extreme right-winger. His economic policies were broadly Keynesian and to the left of some of today's labor parties. If you could get Hitler and Stalin to sit down together and avoid economics, the two diehard authoritarians would find plenty of common ground. Oh, but the Hitler still, he wanted what the communists wanted. He just wanted it on a smaller scale. Like communism plus nationalism is not suddenly on the right. I don't think. Tag is trying to tell me something that I haven't been paying attention to. I apologize. What am I missing out on? Frustrated with Brian going on for 90 minutes trying to conflate the two axes of the compass with mere left, right, and liberal is left, and oh man. So, what am I getting wrong? Just tag me in the response. A word about neocons and neolibs. U.S. neoconservatives, with their commitment to high military spending and the global assertion of national values, tend to be more authoritarian than hard right. By contrast, neoliberals, opposed to such moral leadership and more especially to the ensuing demands of the taxpayer, belong to a further right but less authoritarian region. Paradoxically, the free market is a neocon parlance also allows for the large-scale subtlety, or subsidy rather, of the military-industrial complex, a considerable degree of corporate welfare and protectionism when deemed in the national interest. These are viewed by neolibs as impediments to the unfettered market forces that they champion. Your political compass. Oh man. I'm authoritarian right. No, libertarian right. That makes sense. So I'm in the same camp as Milton Friedman. I can deal with that. Show chart in a separate window for printing. Political compass certificate. Personalized political compass showing you. What is this? It looks like an ad or something. Yeah. So libertarian, yeah, libertarian right. I guess that's fine. I'm less libertarian than I thought I was. Who would you are more wait, what? Who would you are more authoritarian? Well, let me see. So Keynesianism, Keynesian economics, economic theory of total spending, the economy and its effects on output and inflation, developed by the British economist John Maynard Keynes, I guess, during the 30s. In an attempt to understand the Great Depression, he advocated for increased government expenditures and lower taxes to stimulate demand and pull the global economy out of the depression. So I'm being asked which is worse. Oh, which is more authoritarian? I'm gonna go with, I don't know. I think progressivism is. Yeah, I think Keynesian economics doesn't sound legit to me. You are more libertarian right than me. This test is as valid as an autism one. Yeah. So the thing is that socially I'm really liberal. You know, like I don't care what people do. I don't care about the gays and women and black people and all that. I don't care about those things. All I care about is, you know, like I don't want the government bugging me, right? I think that's a pretty much a standard like libertarian view. And I think that a lot of people think they act like libertarianism doesn't exist in the left-right dichotomy, like it's something outside of it. And I believe that left-right is about economics and government It's more about the state, really. It's like, how much state do you want? That's what I think. And socially, you're like liberal and conservative are separate. I think conservatives can be... I think that they're not only separate, but I don't think they're opposites. That's my opinion, though. All right, so... You would have to put... Tag says I'd have to put... I have put Brian in that corner as well. Speech control waterfowl. Keynesianism is as authoritarian as you can economically be without being a Marxist. Okay. Troy says, I was about as libertarian as you, but I'm about 4 to 5 squares to the left. Okay. But their sexual expression has gone too far. Purple corner is best corner. Political trichotomy chart is pretty interesting. Is that like another test? I'm not going to take it now, but I was just wondering. So, yeah. That was interesting. So, libertarian right is kind of like where I thought it was going to be. I think if I would took this test like in 2014 or something, I probably would have came out libertarian left, because I don't know. I guess I think I became more libertarian from doing this show and like watching it, internet videos. Certainly moved a bit to the right too, but I don't think that that's bad. I think that again, there's like this stank put on it that being on the right means that you're conservative and you like, you know, think women should be making babies in the house and that we should, you know, kick the darkies out and shit like that. It's like, no, you know, it's not that at all. It's a misrepresentation. Okay. The left-right is not about economy. It's about progressive versus conservative. Right want a sustainable society while left wants a utopia. Fair enough. I may have gotten that wrong. I don't know. Allison has been making you an anarchist. No, I think I'm actually... Allison is more socialist than I am, actually. At least I remember last time we talked about it, which was years ago. Political trichotomy is just another graph like this, except with 3 points. Communism, individualism, and absolutism, I think. That sounds interesting. Maybe I'll check it out. So I've taken this one, and now I'm going to take one other test, because this will basically prevent me from judgment based on what my results are. I'm going to calculate my intersectionality score. So let's find out how oppressed I am. All right. Of course, this is all on a spectrum, and we're going to see. So how white am I? Well, I think I'm a bit more of a person of color, so I'm going to go about there. I'm about 50% white, but 50% white is actually Iberian. I'm going to scroll down. And then I'm like 25% Kang, so that puts me firmly this way a bit, right? And then there's a 0.5 Ashkenazi Jew, which I think gives me a little bit more. But unfortunately, though, I am really straight, so we're gonna go all the way on that side. I don't like gay shit at all, not even traps, and so that's gonna be over there. I like how there's a rainbow on this side. Why are you gay? I am very male. That is really bad for me, but I like this. Is that purple or blue? What is that? It's pink and blue. Okay. I'm very male. I don't even know why is this on a sliding scale. I don't know. I don't know. Cisgender or transgender, well, again, why is this on a sliding scale? I don't know, but I'm very cis, which apparently is green. I don't know, purple or green. Okay, whatever. I am poor as fuck. So, and I like how it turns brown as you get poorer. Is that how this works? That's kind of racist, guys. What is it? Green? Okay, whatever. Oh, that's money and that's dirt. I get it. Okay, so I'm dirt poor. That's what that means. I am a little bit, I don't know what this means, younger, older. I don't know what this means, but I'm going to go with I'm a little bit older, so more gray, get it, as opposed to more black. What? So I'm a bit older. I'm in my you know, late 40s. I hate to say that, but it's true. I am a little bit disabled. I'm missing a testicle, and that's not good. And, you know, I'm currently undergoing cancer treatment, so I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit disabled down. English is my only language, so again, I'm going to swing this all the way over. Born in the USA is true, but not against my will, because it wasn't like so. So we're gonna go with that. Apparently, just being from the US, that is privilege. That no other country, no. So you could be born in London, you could be born in, you know, in Australia, in like Sydney. You can be born in any other country that's doing really well economically. You can be born in Toronto. And you're less privileged than if you're born in the US, even if you're born in like the worst part of that country. Weird. I was born in Chicago. But okay. More educated or less educated? A bit more educated, especially since going on the internet. So let's go with there. Not Christian. But I live as though God exists, I guess. So maybe I'll go to about there. No way. And, well, I got 0.5 Jew, so I'm gonna like put that. Okay, so let's see. Why sliders? We believe that people fit along the spectrum of identities. For example, you might be slightly bisexual, somewhat poor, Jewish but rarely wear a yarmulke, and native born but travel frequently abroad. By having the option to be somewhere in the middle, this gives a more accurate assessment of your intersectionality score. Yay. Before I reveal my results to tell you guys how oppressed I am, I want to see what you guys are saying. Again or still cancer treatment? Well, now I'm just testing follow-up tests, that's all. How the hell is English as a first language on a spectrum? Yeah, really. Also, why is English the only language that gives you privilege? What if you were from a country that spoke Chinese? Isn't that like spoken by more people than English? What if you, you know, what if you spoke the clicking language? What if you were from Uganda and you knew Dewey? Is that necessarily a lot less privileged? I mean, if you don't speak the native tongue of the country that you're in, I would say that you're pretty underprivileged because you're going to have a hard time doing anything. All right. Can I use this calculator on others? Sure, I can use this calculator against others. That's why we made it. Yes. My transgenderism is on a spectrum. I DM'd you the image of the political triangle. Okay, I'll look at it. On Discord, interesting to look at, but I'm not sure how applicable it is. Great Smith and On says, lol, I took it. I got a score of 25. Apparently 51% of people are more privileged than me. Oh, there you go. You have some, you can do some griefs. You can get your grief on. It's adapt to your country. Oh, okay. I think if you are from Uganda, you win on the Oppression Olympics. Okay, let's see. I wish I could speak Cantonese. Yeah, me too. All right, my result. 34. 66% of others are more privileged than you. Woo! 66%. What now? Let's that's pretty good. I'm pretty underserved, and I want my reparations. My percentage of lack of privilege is even better than you know, the wage gap. All right, so let's make up a let's take a look here at, yeah, my oppression points. I got my oppression points. 66%. Let's make up a person. Let me see. I'm gonna go with, let's see how unprivileged we can make. Let's make this person black as fuck, gay, trans, female, that is dirt poor, disabled, because that's important. We'll make her young. because she's new to this and on the spectrum. We'll say that English is her second language. She's Muslim, so she's from the Middle East. So we'll go with born elsewhere. She's educated because she knows, you know, her intersections, and she is an atheist completely. No, she's got to be Muslim, so we're gonna put that all the way up. All right, how oppressed is this person? 88% of others are more privileged than you. Holy shit. All right, these are easy. Let me make up somebody else. Let me try. I'll try to like speak for somebody else different. Let's put Karen in here. So Karen's white. Karen is bi, so we'll put her like, I don't know if this is actually answering the. I'll put her right over here someplace. She's female. She is cis. She is probably like middle class ish, so I'll put her there. She's getting older, so she's about my age. She is somewhat disabled. She's got like a back problem. English is her first language. She is not born in the US. She's from Canada, so we're gonna move that all the way over. She is actually educated, I think. I don't think Karen has like a college education, so I'll put her like right here. She's just smart, so. She's an atheist, so there's all that. Okay. All right, so let's see how much how little privilege does Karen have? 48, 77. She's less privileged than me. How? How is that possible? I have more privilege than Karen does. The brown poor, it must be because I'm a man. It's got to be that. I bet the man thing has like a really high score. It really changes things a lot. Okay, I'll let you guys choose the traits. We'll do it again. All right, so how white is this next person? How white? I have to check my Doge privilege. Yeah, it's because she's a girl. How white is this fictional person? I'll wait until you guys tell me. Put on a scale of 1 to 10, from 1 being the whitest and 10 being the brownest. On a scale of 1 to 10, how white? And then after this, I'm gonna go. Try 2 identical people, a separate. Let's change the. Yeah, let's make this man, and then we'll scroll up. 33%. 64% of others are more privileged. Albino. Oh, is that white? Ghostly. Clear. So we're making him really white. Okay. How gay? How straight or gay? Scale of 1 to 10. I'll wait for you guys. Is that for 7 on the gay scale? I got a 3 over 9,000. Skin color seems to be the biggest factor. As gay as the Pope. I got like a 37. Female is worth 15 points over male, yeah. Do Milo, somebody says. Should I do Milo? I could do Milo. Fabulous out of 10. You want me to put Milo Yiannopoulos in here? I can figure it out. I can guesstimate it. I could also put... Yeah, I can put Milo in here. So he's white. He is gay as fuck. He's male. He's cisgender, but he does cross-dress a bit. So we'll move this over a little bit. I think he's doing pretty well financially, so we'll move him up a little. Although he spent a lot of money, so I'll put him like right here, I would say. Milo isn't white. He's a Jew. You're right. Let's move him to about there. Yiannopoulos sounds Greek to me. So we'll go right here. He is young-ish. Do this person we create now. All right, then. Give me, okay. So give me something for straight or gay. How gay? Come on. I'm gonna type it in the chat. Okay. Greek, Jew, Catholic. Greeks are Mediterranean, not Caucasian. All right. So, how gay? 10? 3? Jews are white. Jews are white. My gay goes to 1. I'm getting lots of different numbers. 10 on the gay scale. My gay goes to 11. Richard Spencer would disagree. Jews are only white men when they say fellow white people. Alright, so it sounds like you guys want him to be pretty gay, so I'm going to put it about there. Now, male or female? Give me male or female. Give me a number. 666. Roll a d10. Don't dare misgender this fictional person. Binary. Female. Zer, in between? Wouldn't somebody that's in between have less privilege than somebody who's just straight up female? 6665, 666, 666. Okay, we'll put it like right there. All right. Trans or cis? Come on, dudes. Cis, aka normal. Right-handed. Is that cis? Alright, let's move this. Okay, that'd be male with PMS. Yeah. This is right here. This is like a soy boy. This is a guy with a Nintendo Switch. That's what that is. Both. Both? Character generation for the Oppression Olympics, my dude. It's a butch lesbian that looks male. So, that's a little bit transgender. A little bit. 10 trans, 3 cis. Which makes total sense. Masculine presenting, transgender lesbian. Masculine presenting. I'm gonna go with let's go right here. I think all this stuff that's middle of the road, though, it really should affect your score a lot more than if you're like definitely one thing or the other. It's weird. Transgender, non-transitioning, lesbian, tomboy. Boy with an I, though. Alright, rich or poor? The value these variables have are more telling of the author than the people we analyze. Yeah, of course. Although I gotta tell you, this intersectionality score, it might, I don't know if it is, but it could be a joke. Poor, rich as fuck. Rich, living off its parents' money. It. You didn't ask the pronouns. Bill Gates rich. That's 3 for rich and 1 for poor. I'm gonna make him rich as fuck. Ball it out of control. Uncle Pennybags. 10 billion. 10 gorillion dollars. It's tremendous. So much money. All right, young or old? Because ageism is a thing now. Methuselah Methuselah old. Middle-aged, make it privileged. I think, actually, no, I think the older you go, the less privilege you have. Youngish, about 3 on the scale. Maybe I'm wrong, though. Older than dirt. Old-ish. So I got 1 for super old, 1 for middle-aged, another 1 for middle-aged, 1 for young, put foreskin on the face, 28, something like that. Let's go. Let me just go through this one more time. 1 for old, 1 for middle-aged, which I'll consider a little bit old, another 1 for old, another 1 for old, and then I got 1 for young, 1 for 28, which I'll consider young, 1 for young. So foreskin, Sandra Bullock, youngish. I got another 1 for old. So I'm going to go with old. We'll go about there. All right. Able-bodied or disabled? And if we're going to go with disabled, how disabled? Like a quadriplegic? Or, you know, brain tumor? Down syndrome? A mixture of these things? HIV positive? Full-blown AIDS? Make him devout everything so his Muslim side wants to kill his Jewish side. Okay. Young and old gives you less oppression points. Middle age is the lower. No brain equals disabled. Yeah. One-handed. OMG, you are killing it this day. Brain dead. Disabled. Age fluid. I'm from Chicago. I vote as many times as I can. Make it feminist. That is a disability. Autism disabled. Disbrain in a jar. Dyslexic, so very little disabled. HIV positive. Got the HIV. Cognitive dissonance hurricane. Intersexual feminist levels for mental disability. Okay, we'll go about there. We need to be HIV positive about doing this. All right, 3 more, and then I'm gonna just make them devout everything, and then we'll move those things around a little bit. All right, English as the first language or second language? Let's see. I'll wait for you guys to tell me. Esperanto, habla español. 9. So I think those guys are voting. No language, they are mute. Oh shit. Is that even an option? I guess that's disability. No English as first language, just Monegasque and French. 10 language, but him a brainlet. Okay, so you're suggesting 10 on language, so that's second language, but no education. All right, 10 language. So I got people asking for, basically looks like English as second language is the winner. Okay, born in USA. Ten languages because they know binary. I get it. They learn to code. Alabama. Born on the border. Born in Monaco. Not sure if USA or not. ISIS ex-wife. Born in a morning hall. Okay, what else? What else? Does Puerto Rico count as being born in the USA? Yes. If you're born in Puerto Rico, you're a US citizen. I'm pretty sure he didn't understand it. No, I get it. 10 languages, like in 1-0. I get it. Born in East LA. So it looks like they want him to be born elsewhere. So they actually read out your IP and put it in your country. Okay, all right then. Well, that's good to know. Education. Full is it essentially like a free thinker or fully indoctrinated? Street smart, illiterate, in West Philadelphia, born and raised. All right. So I got one person for less educated. College education in marketing and economics. Head shaped like a book. It's brain dead. It can't think at all. Streetwise. Streetwise, help the homeless. I believe in free will because I don't have any choice. Partly indoctrinated. We said devout everything, therefore fully indoctrinated in everything. Well, I mean, I'm gonna go with head shaped like a book. That's pretty educated. So we'll go more educated. Now, religion. Let's go. I'm gonna go devout everything. I don't know how that's gonna work, but apparently it's a thing. Before I scroll up to find out how oppressed this person is, let me know if you guys are okay with these stats. So, white as fuck, gay, female presenting, tomboy, lesbian, slightly female presenting, more or less cisgendered, but don't ask, don't judge. Rich as fuck, a baller, but old, middle-aged, disabled, head shaped like a book, HIV, all that. English is their second language. They don't speak English. They speak Ebonics and code. Born on the border or something, on the moon. I don't know. Super educated and super devout in all of the religions. More female, more cis, they said. Masters in gender studies. Yeah, like a black belt in gender studies. Okay. Should be younger. Well, let's find out what we got. 47. 76% of others are more privileged than you. Woo! That's not as privileged as I thought. Probably too white. That's what it is. Hashtag results too white. Results so white. Still wondering how your country of origin can be on a spectrum. Now let's see if we can get the maximum. Let me try to see if I can get the maximum score. So the maximum score would be person of color. Probably somewhere in the middle here. Again, right here. Pretty trans. Very poor. Pretty old. I think, all the way disabled, English second language, not born in the United States, not educated, and only a devout Muslim. I think that'll give me the highest score, right? 84%. Okay, well, 84. How? Wait. 84 means 86% of others are more privileged than you. Let me see if I can get this down. What if I was really Jewish too? 87%. Okay. What if I was also really Christian, or would that like lower my score a bit? 83. It lowers your score if you're Christian, because fuck that religion, right? How about if I was all the way old, like ancient? 87%. So being old helps. What if you're really young?
Gay, babe. You missed the gay one.
80. I thought that being like
You gotta be really gay.
kind of bi would like.
No, you gotta be super gay.
All right, so let me go to there.
No, all the way to the end.
All the way to the end. So if you're super gay, you're at 91, 87%. I want to get a perfect score. I want to see if I can. So what if I'm really female then?
Oh yeah, female and transgender. You gotta put them all the way to the end if you want the max.
Oh my God! Look at that. 100.
There you go.
94% of others are more privileged than you. Oh no, I can get a better score than this. I can do better. I can do better. So maybe
I don't know how though, like. Wait, you're old, right?
There's always somebody that you're more privileged than, is what you're saying.
You're not older. You gotta be old. I think it's old.
Where's the age thing?
You're right. You gotta do.
Oh, I gotta go all the way old?
Yeah, I think that's right.
94%. Still. Yeah, being really old doesn't matter. Ageism isn't a thing, really. What if I'm all the way disabled? I already don't speak the language. What if I was a little bit Christian? Would that help?
No. You just lost a point.
I'm losing points. No, you can't get a higher score than that.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Unless you're like less trans. Can you be kind of trans? No, that doesn't work.
You have to be really gay.
What if you're like non-binary
really
though?
Really gay, really female, and really transgender all at the same time. Oh yeah, and really black.
I'm all the way. I'm blacker than the ace of spades. Yeah, you can't get, if the game is rigged, you can't get a higher score than that. This is the best you can do. Oh man, this is ridiculous. I just want to know. So, okay, so let's see if we can get to be as privileged as possible. I want to try and get as privileged as possible.
That's easy.
All right, so let's be white, straight, male, cis, rich, young, able-bodied. I speak English. I was born in this country. I'm better than you.
I was educated.
I got like my college degree.
Super Christian.
And I'm really Christian. And I'm none of these people. All right, so this should give me the most privileged score, right? 3. You are more privileged than 90%, 93% of others. Wait, can I do better than that? What if I wasn't a Christian? What if I was a Jew? Yeah, no, they are less privileged somehow. This is literally the stats for like the fucking CEO of the SPLC that I just put in here.
What if you're not religious at all?
Oh, what if I'm just no, if you're not religious, not being an atheist is actually being oppressed.
What?
I don't know if you know that.
That's ridiculous.
No, it's not. This is like how they do it. Modern day Templar days. So this is the most privileged I can make a guy. 99% more privileged than 99%. So there is one person more privileged than me.
They got
it's got to be all these stats, but a woman.
A little bit wrong, right?
Okay.
Like, cause.
What?
The math on this has got to be a little bit wrong. Cause why can't you get like 100% and 0%? And like, there must be something.
I can make him a little bit older.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, more privileged than 100% of others. So I am the most privileged ever. This is it. This is the Ubermensch. This is it. Not even old white men, just a middle-aged.
Go to older, see what happens.
If I go older, I think he starts to lose his privilege.
Does he?
Yeah. Yeah, see, 2.
Yeah,
so he should be like right here,
maybe
like fucking like
little,
30.
A little younger?
A 30-year-old, you know what? No, he's like the guy, you know, those twins from the Social Network movie, the Hammer or whatever his name is. This is this is the Ubermensch. You passed the test. Perfect score. Age score is at 0 center and higher at the end. You're the 0. You're the 0%. Oh man. Christians are mostly oppressed in North Korea. It's the worst country on the planet to be a Christian. Yeah, I bet.
I'm pretty sure that like the most privileged people are atheists. I'm just saying that.
The most privileged people are atheists?
Yeah, like
Yeah.
if you look at it, like poor people tend to not be atheists.
No, they tend to be religious
Like,
because they
affluence-
need religions.
Affluence and atheism is like correlated.
Yeah. Gayer than a San Fran table dancer. Devout Jew down. I'm sorry there's lag, so when you send me a message, I don't see it. So I know it's frustrating because you think you're yelling at a wall. This slider is the literal oppression Olympics. Yeah, it is. You know what? Be aware of these things because one day a new Fallout's gonna come out and it's gonna have these sliders as opposed to boob sliders. The author of this is the most oppressed. More privileged than this. I want to know this person. This white, straight, male, cis, rich, middle, like perfect age, able-bodied, English, born in the U.S., more educated, devout Christian. Hey, this is Captain America. That's who this is. This is Captain America. All right. Anyway, the most privileged are of the exact religion that you expect where they live. Lag is astoundingly short. Typically it's 30 seconds. Here it's like 5. Boob sliders. Yeah, it looks like it's about 10 seconds, something like that. It's not bad. My internet connection helps. Anyway, I hope you guys had fun. I've gone for almost 2.5 hours, so I got to quit out. But thanks for coming on and hanging out with me while I played around with the political compass as well as the intersectionality score calculator. And you know this person, his name is Donald Trump. No, Donald Trump's a little bit older though. He'd be like right over here because he's like 70 something. And you know, men live to be about 80-ish, so Trump would be like right there. And yeah, everything else is right. So that would put him still at more privilege than his score is just 2. So yeah, Trump, that's Trump right there. It is the orange man. And in fact, all these should turn into orange bars when you like get the Trump thing. It's like an unlock, you know? Oh yeah, you're right. Cap's not rich. So it's not Cap. It's Bruce Wayne. It's Batman, right? No, Batman's not religious. Yeah, you're right. It's Donald Trump. What? Daredevil? Daredevil's not rich though.
Yeah.
He's not rich. He's
a lawyer.
he's struggling. Yeah. Well, because he does it for free. But he is a Catholic. So, and he's also disabled because he's blind.
Right.
So yeah, I could go through this and put in superheroes and see how much privilege they have, but yeah, I'm not gonna do that now. Maybe another time. Tony Stark is an atheist though, so there is that too. Tony Stark would be pretty privileged though. If I did Tony Stark, he'd be like right over here, and we'll just take this down, and then he would be at 82% privilege. So being an atheist is like, wow, that's a lot of points for being an atheist. And if I did it to Daredevil, then I would say he's like right over here, a little bit younger, and religious, and also poor. So we'll put him like down, not like that poor, but like right here, not destitute. And he'd be pretty privileged too, so. Do Ocasio-Cortez. Okay. Ocasio-Cortez is Puerto Rican, so she's like right here. I don't know what her sexual orientation is. I know that she has a boyfriend though, or fiance or some shit. She's definitely female. She's definitely cis. She's definitely doing pretty well because she's a politician. She's young, so she's got some advantage there. I think she's mentally retarded, so we'll like make her relatively able-bodied, but not too much. English is not her first language. I bet she speaks Spanish as her first language. She was born here. She's pretty educated. She's probably kind of religious, And that's it. That's all I know. 43. 74% of others are more privileged than her. I want to see how privileged Brie Larson is. White. Tony Stark is less privileged than Daredevil. Weird. Atheism. It's good for that. Brie Larson is white, straight, I think, female, cis. She's a movie star, so she's rich. She's pretty young. I would say able-bodied, I guess. Even though, wait, no, I'm gonna take off some points for having no ass. English is her first language. Born in the USA. Pretty educated. I don't think she's religious. And that puts her at 28. 57% of others are more privileged than her. There you go. She's the type that experimented in college. Yeah, maybe. We'll give her some gay points. 31. There we go. 61%. K Toro. I don't know what you're talking about. I expected more. Yeah, I mean, like, there's stuff I don't know about her, so there might be more to it for Ocasio-Cortez. I don't know. How about Bernie Sanders? Okay, so he's white. No, wait, no. He's a Jew. So I'll put him like right over here. I mean, Jewish people are basically white, but we'll go with that. I think he's straight. He's male, so that's not good. He's cis, that's not good. He's got 3 houses. I think that's pretty rich, right? We'll put him like right over here. He's definitely old as fuck, so we're gonna move that over. I don't know how much time he's got left. He's able-bodied despite that. English appears to be his first language. He was born in the US. He's educated, but that doesn't mean that he's smart. And I don't know if he's practicing, but I'm pretty sure there's a little bit of parentheses in his background, so we'll put it like right here. And Tag says this looks like a valid and useful test. 13. You are more privileged than 75% of others. Bernie Sanders is privileged. He's in the top 25%, but not the top 1%. Millionaires and billionaires. All right, I'll do one more, and then I'm really gonna quit. So, let me think. Who else can I put through the ringer here? Who's another prominent figure that I could like run this on? I could put Anita Sarkeesian through it. Good score in order to speak on behalf of the oppressed. I could put Anita Sarkeesian through this, I think. Maybe, based on what we're able to, what we know. Or if you guys have another idea. Hillary Clinton, Michael Keller says. Do Pickle Rick. Jussie Smollett. Oh, yes. Okay. I like that. Let's do Jussie Smollett and then I'm going to go. Jussie Smollett's black, but he's not, I don't know, he's mixed. There's some white in there. He's got some cream in his coffee. So I'm going to put him like right here. Because I think like, this is how I see it, okay? This is white. Like right here, that's like, you know, like a Mediterranean person, like an Italian or something. Over here are like Puerto Ricans and Mexicans. When you get like to right here, you got like your Lenny Kravitzes and your, you know, Lisa Bonet's, you know, and like all the way over here is like Wesley Snipes, Charlie Murphy, Djimon Hounsou, the guy from Get Out. So I think that Jussie Smollett is like right there. He's got a little bit of He's got a little bit of cream in his coffee. He's gay, so we'll just give him the gay. We'll just put it all the way over. I don't think he's bi, so he's male. Let's see. He's cis. He's not making, you know, he's a TV star, but my understanding is he was getting paid less than like people like Terrence Howard were, you know. So I'll put him like right here, you know. Yeah, Halle Berry, right? You know, Halle Berry, and like maybe like right in here. Terrence Howard would be like right over here. So I think Jussie is like right, you know, yeah, like right here. This is good. He is young, so I'll put him in the middle-ish. He's doing pretty good, but he's not making as much money as others on the show. I'm sure he's still doing fine, though. He appears to be able-bodied, despite having barely survived that attack. English is his first language, so that's okay. I'll leave it at that. Born in the U.S., born in Chicago, which I think is a little bit less like the rest of the country, so we'll put it like right here. But actually, I don't really know if he's from Chicago. I know he lives in Chicago. I'll leave it like right there. I don't know what that means. What does this mean? Education, I don't know it. Religion, I don't know. As a black man, I'm just gonna have to make some assumptions. I think that most blacks are a bit religious, so we'll put some Christian in there. Either that or some Muslim. I know that like Dave Chappelle is Muslim, but we'll leave this. And yeah, we'll do that. We'll do that. So this looks pretty good. So 41, 73% of others are more privileged than you. 73%. Okay, now let's do the same thing, but with the Nigerians that jumped him. So here we go. They're gay, I think, or one of them was. So we'll put this like right here. One of them was gay, I'm pretty sure. They were male. They were cis. They made less money because they were extras. So we'll put them like not poor, but like in the middle here. They look like they're about the same age, so I'll leave that alone. They're definitely able-bodied. Swole as fuck. I don't think English was their first language, so I would say they're bilingual. They're like right here. They were born in Nigeria, I'm pretty sure. So we're gonna go ahead and put that all the way over. They're probably, their education is probably, if they're born in Nigeria, their education is probably a little bit less quality. You don't think so? What did they didn't emigrate here? Why do they call them Nigerians then? You don't think they're Nigerian at all?
No, I think they might be. But like, I think they were born in the US.
All right, they were born in the U.S. I'll put it. I'm gonna put it like right here though, because we're not sure. Biconolingual, and their religion we don't know. So I'll give them some Muslim. Because Nigeria, I guess. I don't know. What's the main religion in Nigeria? Let me look. Yeah, it's 50% Muslim, 40% Christian, and 10% local religions, i.e. shamanism. So we'll go with Muslim. I'll put it there. All right. So what do you got? 51, 79%. So these guys are actually less privileged than Jussie Smollett is. Nigerian is just their ethnicity. Okay. Yes, babe. Yeah, of course. Is that with sausage? Yeah, I'm gonna close out the stream so I can eat. Okay, so Christianity. No, I just looked it up. It's actually Muslim mostly. I think they're Christian, but it's some weird voodoo Christianism. Southern Nigeria Christian, Northern Islam. Do ET next, please. Fuck. Okay, I'm gonna do one more and then I'm gonna quit. I don't think you can do. All right, so ET. Doesn't have a sexuality. Is male, I think. Doesn't have shit but a plant when he arrives. I think it's young. Appears to be able-bodied despite its deformities. So maybe by our standards, it's disabled. It doesn't speak English really well. It was definitely not born here. It doesn't have our education, and it's non-religious traditionally. 66, 84% of so ET was pretty oppressed. ET. All right, I'm gonna go. I want to thank you guys for coming on the stream and hanging out while I did the political compass test and the intersectionality score calculator. With that said, I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here. Give this video a like, subscribe, and comment. And I'll talk to you guys later. Thanks for coming on. I'm gonna go get some food. Bye-bye, guys.